Wrestling Guy. With your hosts, the Hall of Fame referee, Jay Hawk, the not-so-mysterious benefactor, Jay Gold, and the legendary Charlie Butters.
So how was your trip that your mommy took you on, Jay Gold?
Yeah, my mom came with us to we went on a Disney cruise, and we went to Epcot to start the weekend right. We got in around 2:00 in the afternoon on Sunday last week. First of all, hello everyone. Glad to see you all. It's been a nice Labor Day vacation type week. We went we landed in Orlando, and I said to Harper, I was like, it's a Sunday. I'm like, a lot of the wrestlers travel. Maybe you'll see somebody in the airport. And when we get off the plane, and there's Ivy Nile just hanging out in the Starbucks. So couldn't have been sweeter. Really nice person. I know Clemens says she was a really great person. So we went over to her and talked to her. She gave us a picture. We didn't even ask. I know, because all I had was your voice in my head, Butters, going, "Don't be an airport stalker." I'm not. We got off the plane. She was standing right there. It's not like we were the ones coming in. Maybe she was stalking us.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, so we did that, and then we drove right to Disney, and we went to Epcot because we were staying at the Yacht Club, and it was 2:00. It was hot, and it looked like it was going to pour. And they told us, "Hey, you got here at the right time," because a lot of the locals started school already. So we literally ran into the park, and she got some pictures with Daisy Duck. She got some pictures with Merida from Brave, and then we hit all the rides. And I honestly don't know how we got so lucky, but there was nobody there. Like, as soon as it started raining, the place emptied out. And I said to Harper, I'm like, my mom and my wife don't go on rides. So I was like, all right, if we're going to do this, let's rock and roll. Let's get to anything we could get to and get it out of the way to start. And we went to Mission Space. And that ride is insane, because I didn't realize it was like a giant gyroscope or whatever they call it, where it's just spinning you around. So we did that. We put in for a fast pass, for a lightning pass for Guardians of the Galaxy, but that was not for 4 hours. So we had 4 hours to try to get to everything we could get in. So we did Mission Space. We did Spaceship Earth. We got to Ratatouille. No lines. I don't think anyone's ever ridden Ratatouille without a line. It was first of all, that's the best theme park ride I have ever been on. There might not be anything cooler than Ratatouille. Like, the fact that you smell baked goods, and then they put you under an oven and you feel it like heating you up, and then they're spraying you in the face with water when you're running through the kitchen, and the thing's just spinning back and forth, and you feel like you're underneath people's feet, and it's just the coolest ride I have ever been on. We did all the crap with buying the ears and everything else, and then we got to Guardians, and that honestly could be the best coaster I have ever ridden. That was so much fucking fun. The fact that they got all those people to do, acting cameos. They had what's her face, Glenn Close and Terry Crews, and all the Guardians and everybody doing their thing. And that ride was awesome. That ride was awesome. We had Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears. That was the song we got. Everybody says if you ride it different times, you get different songs in the playlist. So that was ours, which was cool. I thought that was neat. And then we did the Three Caballeros ride with Donald, Panchito, and Jose, which was cool. And I love the Three Caballeros. Remember them or no?
Oh, that's old school there. I don't think a lot of people know them.
I really think you should start a Disney podcast and have like Derek and Koo and all the Disney adult wrestlers on. That'd be really cool.
Disney adults pushing my daughter aside to get a picture with Daisy Duck just really pissed me off. It's like, it's not real, everybody. Let's just wait in line like human beings, will we? But we get out of there. We did everything. They had the fireworks. We did the Frozen log flume, which was awesome. And then the next day they took us on a van or a bus from Disney to Port Canaveral, where we took a Disney cruise. And I honestly, I've never been on a cruise either. So I've never been to Disney, and I've never been on a cruise. And this was one of the most enjoyable experiences. Yes, I was worn out from Epcot. We did about 30,000 steps. I was worn out. But they take you on the boat. It's this giant grand ballroom. All the characters are waving, all the princesses. They have the rooms. You're doing new rooms. You go on this deck where they show every Disney movie, all the whole time you're on the cruise, you can go up to the deck and watch a different Disney movie. They have a giant water slide that takes you around the outside of the boat, which is wild. You're getting shot out over the ocean and back onto the boat. They did each night for dinner was a different themed restaurant you go to on the boat where they're like, it's literally built like the movie Frozen. So you have one at Arendelle, then you do 1923, which was where Walt and Roy Disney created Disneyland. So it looks like a speakeasy. And then the last one was an Avengers themed. It was called the Worlds of Marvel. And you go in there and they put like Pym particles on your table and you're trying to stop Ultron from invading the boat, which I thought was really cool. And you have Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly trying to guide you through. And they have all the new characters. So like Kamala Khan and what's her name, Kate Bishop, and like all the new characters were like part of the Avengers, and they're on the boat. You're watching them like in your restaurant, like on the deck, like fighting Ultron. And then out of the ceiling, Spider-Man drops out of the ceiling, and he starts running around the boat, giving people pictures, and like that was pretty cool. We went to Atlantis and we did all the crazy slides there, and then they have a private island that they took us to also. So all in all, it was a great trip. I'm glad I got to keep in touch a little bit because the internet was so spotty. But I would do it tomorrow. If you told me tomorrow to get on the boat, I would just go and have. I think Disney is amazing, and I honestly I take it back that everything that I thought of about Disney, I take it all back. It is fucking magical. I have nothing else to say, but Disney it's magical. There is nothing better than spending a week doing things that Disney does. Yes, it is pricey as hell, but it's not a waste of money. Like everything you do, you're getting your money's worth. And I can understand now why people go and do these long trips or just go for a day, or like you live in Orlando. Hey, I'm just going to go hang out in Disney for the day. It's amazing. Everything they do is top class, and it was a great trip. And the only thing is I didn't get to watch All In during that because I was on the airplane. And then I did get home in time this weekend for Bash in Berlin and everything else. So that was cool. But yeah, it was great. And I'm sorry I missed the review of Wrestlers Lab because I enjoyed that show too. So that's my week, everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed my synopsis of Disney.
Yeah, I just I had like a super long vacation time and did some stuff with the family, and then I came today and I was at work and I decided to argue with Val Venus.
Yeah, you were fired up today.
And a couple other people that were trying to shit on Danhausen. And they got me all fired up. Wait, can you tell me
what happened? What happened with Danhausen? Did he get released?
No. He's still under contract. He just hasn't been on TV since like World's End. Yeah.
It's been forever since he was on TV.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody was shitting all over him though about All In or something, right? Was it All In that happened, or World's End?
It was World's End, yeah. And because you get chickened out of the ring, sometimes you do get caught up on it, and it looks bad. Oh, he botched that. That's why they took him off TV. It's like, no, shit happens. That happens in WWE all the fucking time. Nobody cares. Like,
yeah, I actually I responded to somebody who went, "You people want Danhausen on TV just because he sells merch?" I'm like, that's the fucking point of the business, asshole.
The entire point of the business is to make money. If one thing I've learned from hanging out with you guys and doing wrestling for this long, there's no other purpose to wrestling except to make money. The promoters don't give a shit. If there's money in their pockets, that's all they want. They don't care about anything else. So I don't understand why people yell that Danhausen sells so much merch. He's a fucking mover. He's a manufacturing machine.
Dude just did tours of the UK and Japan in the last month. Like, he's doing just fine. So it's whatever. Like, they can hate all they want, but.
And you went after Val Venus, which is great because Val Venus is a big dummy.
Yeah, literally all I did was just copied Cody Rhodes of like when he yelled at Disco Inferno. I just copied that and took out some stuff. I was like, I don't even give a fuck. Like, I will not waste my time with that fucking piece of shit. And it still works perfectly for what he was saying. So
I went into a hole. I was reading his threads.
Dude, he is fucking he just goes crazy human being. Jesus
yes, but he was actually arguing with people on the same thread that you were writing to him, and he's like, I was winning championships in Puerto Rico and Japan and all before 10 years before WWE, and I'm like, I don't remember that. I don't know what he's talking about. Like, where was he?
Feds, some backyard
he definitely
feds.
was. He wasn't Val Venus, so I don't even have any idea if anybody ever heard of the dude before that.
No, nobody did. Like he probably wrestled with like Edge and Christian. That was about it.
Yeah,
he did have a run in Mexico under a Mac, like actually where WWE discovered him. So he might have done something there, but
Oh, he did?
They should have left him there.
yeah, his name was Steel or something like that. He did have a run in Mexico, but
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Pre-Val Venus. So the Puerto Rico, I don't remember. Japan, I sure fuck don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about him being in Japan. So strange.
Anyway, it's IW Guide. I'm Butters.
Hello. Jay Gold.
Jay Hawk.
And Tess.
And we have Tess with us again this week. And she's going to be here again next week, too.
I am. 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah. And our special guest next week, I guess we can officially announce it because I've been teasing it, but it's probably pretty obvious. Gabby Force is coming on next week.
Yeah.
We locked that up.
The
Tess has
Long
been
Island
helping me
Nomi.
with a game we're gonna play. So I got a little game we're gonna play at the end of the episode with
good.
Gabby. So I'm excited for it. Other breaking news, I guess we could probably throw it in here, or do we want to save it and kind of announce it when we get to his match on Enjoy?
Oh, save it.
Save it. Okay, we're gonna save it till we get to that match, the main event. Shout outs. Shout out to Zach, Chris, Andrew, and Brock, and of course, Patty.
Hey, Patty.
Hey, Patty.
Oh, Tess, Patty was asking, what all did you help with the GCW? Were you just like doing merch, or what were you doing there? Like, what were you helping with?
So I was helping out with like some setup stuff. Just helping out the head ref there, get some stuff organized before the entire show. They had me and Rosie helping out with Matt Hardy's merch table and setup, so we could kind of like help them with like payments and control the crowd. So we did that, and then I rang bell. So that was fun.
That's awesome.
You rang the bell at GCW?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, and helped out backstage, helped out some people get some ride homes because I live far enough south. There was a lot of stops I could hit if I needed to on the way. So
Tess, where was it again?
it was in Cleveland. It was
That was
right
the
before
Cleveland
SummerSlam.
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the SummerSlam show. Okay. I thought you were talking about one of the ones that just happened. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all.
no.
We were
there's a lot
talking
of
about that because Patty was asking me about it, and I was like, I don't really know. So I was like, oh, that's a good opportunity to ask. You're on again.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, because I ran into Patty while I was helping out. I was like, oh, there's Patty.
yeah, she needed to see.
Did she work that too?
No, she was there to see Nick
was there.
Gage and them.
What's on this weekend?
I found one that I think is going to be great. It's H2O presents Hustlemania 7.
Okay.
So that's Cage of Hell 2, Head of State versus Team H2O. That's the Danny Havoc Hardcore Championship, Neil Diamond Cutter versus Bam Sullivan. Hybrid Championship, Cecilio Vega versus Sean Smith. Psycho Circus Deathmatch, Alex Stretch versus Jimmy Chondo Lion. Madman Pondo versus Lowlife Louis Ramos.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And a hardcore scramble, Dale Patrick versus Ladley Blakely versus Mouse versus Anthrax versus JB Anderson. And then the dropouts versus JT Reno, Leroy Robinson, and Pablo. So that looks like one of their things over there. There's going to be a lot of mess, I think, in that show. So I picked that one off of IWTV.
Jared, what do you got?
I'm going to give a shout out this week to my friend over at Future Stalker Wrestling in Las Vegas. They got a show Friday called Moment of Truth. Bateman and Judah Matthew against Grimmy Markel and Sugar Brown. The Regulator against Golden Era. G Sharp versus Bodie and Prodigy. Shogun versus Ike Williams. Cody Croft against Clutch in the Nevada State Tournament. BBC versus Makeshift Chemistry versus Mariachi Montana. And the main event, Chris Bay against Robert Martyr.
Chris Bay, yeah.
Some of these
Chris
names
Bay and
I
Robert
really
Martyr,
enjoy.
that should be worth it right there. That match should be fantastic.
Yeah.
Doing a review.
All right, we are talking about Enjoy Immaculate, June 16, 2024, from Stage AE in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Aired on YouTube July 18th, July 25th, and August 1st as 3 separate episodes. And the commentary team of Jem Fair and Veda Scott.
solid commentary team. Really enjoyed them together. I'm glad Jem is getting more airtime and doing commentary. It's what I was asking for, so I'm glad they listened to me specifically and were like, Butters knows what he's talking about. We should put him on commentary more. So
Was there not a question, actually, the building itself, that was not
Stage
a standard
A.
building for them, and it was dynamite looking. It was packed. Tess, did you go to that?
No, something else conflicted that day. I was not able to go.
Yeah, it was like Father's Day and Toy Hio and like a whole bunch of stuff, because that's why I didn't go, because I would work Toy Hio all day, and I was like, I'm not going to Pittsburgh and then like trying to drive back and forth, and it's too much. I couldn't do it.
But that venue was gorgeous. Like when you watch, every time I watch Enjoy, their production and everything just goes, through the roof. And now seeing what they did there with like the very expensive lighting rigs and the screens, I need to know more about Enjoy's owners, and I need to know more about the whole thing. I need to know about Enjoy, how this whole thing comes about.
I know this much. Scotty Swemba does all that. He is in charge of all that. That's his baby. How it's shot, how it's lit, all that is all him. He is a madman, and people really give him, even when we had Reese Hayes on, he even mentioned, how he handles all that and stuff like that. And it blows me away. Like you figure, they light that, Mr. Small's theater up beautifully, and then they go to stage AE and they light it up, and it looks amazing. It looked excellent.
I've only been to stage AE for concerts, but that venue is awesome. So I'm glad they got the chance to wrestle there.
Yeah. Where's that in Pittsburgh, by the way? Do you know where that, like, what kind of...
It's downtown, right by
downtown.
all the stadiums. Yeah, it's by all the stadiums. Like, you literally use stadium parking to go to that, and then, like, because I've been there for concerts as well, and it's a really cool venue. It's really nice. It's really clean.
It looked it. I mean, I like that they also didn't put up any barricades. It just gives it such an open feel. It just feels bigger.
What's really cool too is they have a whole outside venue as well for like concerts, and it's just as cool and just as awesome there too. Like I would really like to see an outdoor wrestling show in their outdoor venue. I think that'd be really cool.
And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but they took that's a big venue, and it's not like they were giving you names of like anybody who, except people who are known to the Enjoy world. It's not like they gave you, some out there AEW star or ex WWE star. They gave you people who are on the indies. It's not, they sold it for the indies, and it sold out. It was just packed.
Yeah, I mean, the vast majority of the roster was definitely Enjoy roster, and then you have like Willow Nightingale, Dirty Breeze, but yeah, everything else was. I mean, the main event was sold on indie roster. It was
but Willow's an Enjoy person too, isn't she? So like, it's not like
she was an Enjoy way back when, before she really started getting used by AEW and got signed. Yeah,
I would say Sunny Kiss helped with that sellout too.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I give credit.
But Sunny was on the last one, wasn't she? She was on the last one.
Yes, but I don't think she was announced. I think that was a surprise. No, for the last one. The last one was a surprise, so then they could get the
Right. Okay. Yeah. Now you're right. I remember the last set of tapings. Okay.
So yeah, this was. I mean, it's great for Pittsburgh indie wrestling. There's a lot of people that they said, this is their first Enjoy show, and they started off with like the cage match that had like a 2-year build. Which, if you're just walking into a wrestling show for the first time, that's a hell of a way to for your first match there to go for Enjoy and be like, oh, this is how this is. All right, cool.
Yep.
So let's get into that, Jayhawk.
And brilliant decision to open with the cage match. Actually, I mean, you got the cage up before the door and even open. That gave you a lot of time later on. So great decision to do that. But it was David Lawless Esquire against Mr. Grimm. And we got an interview with David Lawless beforehand where he's like, I haven't been running from Grimm. Grimm's been running from me for the last 2 years. Brilliantly done. I love David Lawless.
He's the best. I really like him as on all ends, as a human being and as a talent, and as just like how he puts things together. He's a smart guy, and he just
great lawyer
Yeah.
for me.
But he's so smart. Like everything he does, the way he cuts his promos, he's just smart. It's just great.
He to me, he comes off as a great heel because he does a great job at me disliking him. Like if I dislike the person, but like when they're just them, I'm like, you're such a nice dude. But then when they're in character, I'm like, I hate your guts. Then they're doing their job really well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
This feud is great. I was glad to see it finally come to an end at some point though. But it was definitely this was how you should end a feud.
Oh, I have notes on this too. I should probably get those out and talk about.
Yeah, let's go.
Notes.
But it starts off, Grimm coming out first, Lawler coming out, and it's like, you think I'm stupid? I'm not getting in the cage. He tried to leave. And then TME and MVN are like, no, you don't. Get in there. And then Grimm comes out of the cage and beat him up for a few minutes before the official start. Okay, we talked last week at Wrestlers Lab about too many matches starting on the floor. This is one that starting on the floor is perfect, but this was built for 2 fucking years. Absolutely do a hot start for this.
Right.
Yeah. I had my one only nitpick was I wanted to see this was the culmination of 2 years. I needed to see more color in this match. I wanted to see David Lawless bleeding all over the place. I can understand. I know he's got a side gig, a real shoot job, but I wanted blood everywhere in this match. But I know they didn't deliver it like that. There was minimal, but that's the only thing that I had a nitpick on. I had so much fun watching these two go at it.
Yeah, I feel like if this was like a match that took place in like Tennessee or somewhere down south, you might have got more blood, you might have got more heat with it. But the first time in a venue like this, you don't want to go too crazy. You don't want to burn that bridge immediately as soon as the show starts.
Right.
Like, oh, here's a guy that's going to bleed buckets of blood. But we're not violent. We're not a violent company,
Yeah. Well, and I know, I don't know if it's still the same way or not, but haven't been paying much attention, but I know the Pennsylvania Athletic Commission used to be really nitpicky about the blood too. I don't know if that might have had something to do with it. I don't know if that changed in the last few years or not,
Who
but I
knows
know that used to be a
if
big
they even
thing.
tried to do anything in Pittsburgh. I know they mostly focus on Philly in that area.
That's also true, but
Who knows if there's even somebody to come out and try to scam the promoters out of money. My notes here include that I gotta stop saying number one. When Grimm took the gavel and hammered the skewers in,
yeah,
glorious moment.
Yeah.
Really, really, really beautiful moment. Popped me huge, made so much sense. I had the biggest grin on my face when it happened. I was like, this is just perfect. Like, whoever thought of that, thank you. That was really great.
It looked great. The visual, he got a lot of skewers in there.
Mhm.
Like a lot of times you see guys do that like thing, they hammer it and then half the skewers fall out. Only like 2 fell out of his head. He had all of them in his head.
skewering is a spot I'm not a fan of, but you're right, Butter. It made perfect sense for what they were doing.
I dug it. I really
using
dug
the gavel
it.
to hammer them in. Very nice touch.
Yes, 'cause why would a lawyer you have a gavel?
Yeah, I was say they were just arguing about it earlier. Like, why would he have one?
And it was really hilarious because those two on commentary basically were just like, "Oh, poor David. Oh, if the cage wasn't there, he'd be able to get out of the way of that chair." Oh,
Yeah.
like they were really relishing the fact that David was finally getting his comeuppance.
I appreciate
really
that,
great.
but sometimes though I do need, because they're both face announcers, so sometimes you need a little bit of that, like what's it called?
Pushback. You want some pushback back and
sometimes,
forth,
or some neutrality, where you're like, oh, he's got to get at it. Like somebody's got to say something like, "This is just becoming a beating." Like somebody help this guy, but nope, it's just watch him get his head beat in for the whole match.
Yeah,
So,
like part of me was kind of wishing Rich Bikini would have been there for that, and then the other part of me is like, yeah, Bikini been kind of against David Lawler on these show too. I don't know if we would have gotten that neutrality with him.
I was saying, I don't think, and even the heel commentator was very fond of Lawless after 2 years of this.
that's the best part of him. Yeah, that's the best part. I can't believe we've been watching this feud for 2 years.
Right. And it's been solid the whole time. Like it's been great every single time, every twist, every little turn.
They kept them apart for 2 years. Hey, whoever's listening, hey, long-term storytelling like that can work. If you keep them apart, it works.
It didn't feel like it dragged on either.
No.
Like every step that they put, like a barricade of Grim getting to Lawless felt totally fine, and like it wasn't dragging it out. It added to it, so
Right,
I was fine.
feuds.
And it was promoted properly. It was done all properly because they're like, oh, he's finally going to face Lawless. They didn't say which one. Then it was Rex Lawless. It was perfect. Like they really understood what they were doing with it. And this made the most sense for them to pull the trigger on it because it's their biggest show, indie show in Pittsburgh history. Why not do it? I get it completely. And
it was non-title.
Yeah.
It was a non-title storyline this whole time, and it was very, like, it drew your attention in.
Yep.
But Billy, I'm thinking I'm ahead of myself now. Let's see, what do I have? Mr. Grimm then used like some more of the skewers to like get him to bleed some more so he could lick his forehead.
He poked him. It really, you saw like poke
his
marks.
forehead.
It was gross. He had legit poke marks in his head.
Mm-hmm. And he poked him some more, and then he licked the blood, and he hooked him in a version of the Muda lock, and David passed out, man. He had drool coming out of his mouth. It was perfect. Good stuff.
Yes, drool. Yep.
Fantastic way to open the show. 1852 the time. Bell to bell, because I was not even counting the 5 minutes they were on the floor before that.
But now if we can just tell if you're listening for the first time about Enjoy, their episodes are an hour apiece, so that's not a long. It may sound long for a show, but it's only an hour episode, and they don't fill it with like 15 matches. You got 3 on there, sometimes 2.
These ones were a little bit extended. I think this show was an hour and a half.
And these episode 3 was about an hour 15.
Yeah, so they extended a little bit, but you're roughly around an hour, a little bit over, which was all right.
Yeah.
So then we have the announcers talking about Edith Surreal announcing that she was going to step away from wrestling indefinitely, which leaves the Enjoy title vacant. Billy Dixon and Sonny Kiss come out. They cut a promo talking about how they should just give the belt to Sonny because they're supposed to face Edith. And so they should just get the belt. They shouldn't have to face anybody else. And out comes Ziggy. And she is
the new general manager
GM of Enjoy Wrestling.
Billy Starks. I mean, Billy Dixon. Billy Dixon. We have our relationship with Billy Dixon on the show.
And we talk about how great he fucking is like a heel. He is really great in the crew.
I can't believe Sonny is a heel. Sonny's not supposed to be a heel.
Oh, I can believe it.
Oh, I love it. I love them together. And like it's so like petty and bratty and like it's just perfect. It works for me. I like it. I like them as the top heel, the top heels in the company.
I've been cheering for Sonny since 2016 in Hoboken. Okay, I cannot be forced to boo Sonny Kiss. You can't do it. Sonny smells
you
amazing.
Don't have
by
to,
the way.
But there were people in that building that fucking hated her, and it was great.
When I saw Sonny in Hoboken with like 12 people, Sonny smelled the best out of any wrestler I've ever been next to in my entire life. She just knows what to do. It's just how you do it. If you're gonna be out there, with just being athletic, you should smell good. Sonny always smells good. Anyway,
I was gonna say it says a lot about how Enjoy can do storytelling that they got the crowd to turn so easily on Sonny.
Yeah,
because in other times where I've seen Sonny, like GCW, love everything that they do with Sonny as well. But like sometimes you still get a little bit of mixed reaction because people love Sonny. Enjoy Nope, everyone was turned against Sunny. I was like, that's good. Like the fact that like they wanted Sunny to be a very like where GCW's a little wishy-washy too if they're like if she's totally a heel or not. And Joy's like, no, we need her to be a heel, and they got the crowd to do it. So
yeah, I think that crowd is another thing that's just so special about Enjoy is because they're not a normal wrestling crowd. Like you can give them like these like little specific crumbs and they'll bite on them, not like a normal wrestling crowd, and they will follow what you're trying to tell the story of because they're just there to have fun. They're not going to talk about the work rate of the match. They're not there for all that shit. They're there to have a good time, to drink, watch wrestling, be entertained. And I think if it's base level stuff that you can do that just works so well with them. So it's like, it's not, in my opinion, I don't think it's probably as difficult. But I think that they still do such a great job with it that they probably just looks like it's not difficult, but it probably is. To do some of those things.
The Enjoy fans understand everything Enjoy wants to put out, and they play along. They're a lot like Deadlock Pro. They just go along. They go with this is what you're telling me, so this is what I'm doing, which is cool too because it's so refreshing to see something like that where not everyone needs to be overly smart,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, yes, you're right, Tess. They went right for the booze. I just sit there and go, no, I can't do it. Not my concrete rose. I can't do it.
So Ziggy tells us that the winner of Mikey and MV will face Sunny later in the show, well, later in the episodes, for the championship. So whoever wins of MV Young versus Mikey Montgomery will then face Sunny Kiss for the Enjoy Championship.
Also, Ziggy looked good. I loved her outfit. She came out and she played that part really well. I was excited.
She had the attitude. And we'll see that attitude a little bit more too during the main event. Like she came out and like went, we always talked about how she was that Chihuahua that once you got her started, she was absolutely that in the main event. When she got pissed, you knew she was pissed and it was on, like shit was on. I was like, oh, here we go. All right.
But look, if you have somebody who's that popular, you got to find a way to get her involved in the show. And they figured out the best possible scenario to play off of that crowd and the popularity. So good on them for figuring that out. It's perfect.
And I'm really happy that she's still involved with wrestling. We still get to see her a little bit, see the character and kind of, she's still around. So it's not like she's completely gone. So that's great. We got a bunch of promos. Go ahead, Jared.
And again, perfect storytelling for that as well, because you've got MV Young and Mikey Montgomery. They were the last two eliminated in the Odyssey.
Yeah.
So Gunny Kiss getting that title shot automatically for winning the Odyssey, and then the two runners up have to fight each other to get that spot. So it favors the person who won the Odyssey still, and still gives the runners up their opportunity. It was perfect. Couldn't have planned it any better.
Yeah, like that's some almost like dumb luck that's how like they finished it out, and then it worked perfectly. Like unfortunately Edith had to step away, but this storyline makes complete sense. Here you go. That's what makes sense for the show, and it makes sense for everything else. And like I didn't even think about that when it was first announced that was how that was going to go as the winner of that match, because like you try to read some stuff like when it's happening, and I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like those two are like gonna have a hell of a match anyway, so why not? The winner gets that. And then when they talked about that on the show, when I was watching it, I'm like, holy shit, like that's some luck right there that they were the last two, and now they're gonna fight to see who gets to wrestle for the belt. That's genius. That's serendipitous, is the best way I can put it, I think. But we got 4 promos for the 4-way tag team match that we're about to get into here. Any thoughts on any of these?
This was the TME production,
Neon Blondes and Kings of the District.
Right. Yeah. I mean that my only thing is I am not a very big fan of Kings of the District as far as just in general. They just don't. To me, I've never been on their wagon. I loved seeing TME. I love seeing the production. I love seeing Neon Blondes. It's the facade always makes me laugh. So that's there. But they all do a really good job when they do, promos and do production for it. So, you can't help but get hyped for a match like that.
Well, the production promo is one we did see online beforehand, and I know that was shot by Scotty Swemba as well. If you look at like the style, like the art to it, the way it was shot, it looks really, really good. And that's just what Scotty does. So like when I saw that, I was like, oh, that makes complete sense. That was done by him. And that was there. They didn't even have to do another backstage promo. It was literally just that video to kind of reintroduce, oh, well, I'm with Katie now. This is what's going on, blah, blah, blah.
And if I can say Duke Davis, every time I see him, it takes me back. Like he is so big that like I have to be like, this dude is a Greek statue. Like when you look at him every time, it doesn't matter how many times I've seen him live or on in Enjoy, his physique, his size is just so kind of different than everyone else's. Him and Gannon, they just look different than everyone else.
IW Guy Tag Team of the Year 2023, man.
Yeah, amazing. They just look different than everybody else, and it's I don't even know how they have not been signed yet, but it is mind-boggling every time I see them.
Anything stand out for you in this test? Anything you want to talk about?
Just the promos.
Moving on to the match itself, if you wanted to talk about anything in the match.
I don't know if Jayhawk wants to bring that in. How it all got started here.
Honestly, I was doing quite a thing during I missed the first couple minutes of it. I never went back to it. So.
Well,
that's fair.
The beginning of the match, I mean, you're going to have your basic, they're all in a corner. It's going to break down at some point. That's kind of how this is going to go.
I like, as they're all coming out, the different things that the commentators touched on with all of the teams. Because it really, especially if you're tuning in for the first time, which I feel like, again, I mean, you're not going to hear it live at Stage AE, but there are a lot of people there that were new because of where the location. Like when they go back and watch it, now they get to hear all this extra detail they may not know, which is great. But I love that, especially because it was so fresh. And then Ziggy also made her return. The lay-in both commentators did about about the production. Really added to their actions out there, and the fact that Ziggy had appeared, even though they didn't interact directly, you got the vibe of the commentators we're gonna give Katie Arquette a chance. Never mind, she did blank in the match. Nope, she's gone. We're done. We already knew that we weren't gonna like the production without Ziggy, and here we go. They did a really good job of playing it in and kind of making people who were new kind of get the vibe of what happened, even if they don't go back and watch it.
Right.
The Enjoy crowd hates Derek. They hate him. He's so good at they just lose their minds. There was no doubt who was the heel team in that entire, in the entire, they just hate him. And he does such a good job of being that, delivering on that. So
I wrote down there was a whole segment of just craziness happening. There's this Danny Moe hits a springboard destroyer on Gannon Jones Jr. that was just crazy. Duke Davis hits a spinning power slam off the second rope onto Danny. Jordan does this forward roll into a sleeper on Katie that was fucking sweet. I'd never seen that before, and I thought that was really dope. And she almost had Katie with that. Then Derek did a razor's edge bomb to the outside on everybody. On Blade. Facade did a springboard flip onto everybody.
King of the scrambles, Facade.
That's right. Powerbomb. There's a powerbomb crossbody combo from the Neon Blondes on Gannon. The production came in and hit the Codebreaker Senton combo on Facade and a bunch of strikes on Danny, followed with the double team bomb. Kings of the District hit a double DVD on the production. TME hits their finish on Facade, which he got so far up at the fucking hair. Holy shit. Well, that's just because they're so goddamn big to begin with, but
yeah.
Oh man, he was way up there. I was like, oh shit, I think he overshot almost.
And that's the one thing you can say about Facade. He's not afraid to get up there and take those bumps.
No, he did, and TME wins the belts. So Kings of the District didn't even get one title defense out of it. Curious if they'll get a rematch or how they're gonna handle that loss.
I think that was your. Go ahead, Tess. Sorry.
I was gonna say I think that's the right way to do it though. Like if because we know about some of a little bit of like who was originally maybe supposed to get the titles and then stuff happened and then Kings of the District took the place. So like, do I think that was the right move at the time? Yeah. Do I think this was the right move on if you didn't want them to hold the titles? Yes, because now it doesn't necessarily make them look weak. It's just that they could lose the title without being the one pinned. There was just too many people.
Draw, yeah.
Right. So like that was a good way to do it. I also have to say with this match, I loved that it wasn't a 4-way tag where like you're like, okay, this is drawn out because now you got to make sure everybody gets in to do their moves because there's that many teams to keep track of, but only 2 can be in at the time. They did such a good job with setting this match up. I never felt like I was like waiting for the next thing and like, okay, this is taking forever. None of that happened. And they were all able to like get multiple things off as teams or on their own. And it didn't feel like they were just doing it to do it. It made sense and it flowed really well. And so again, I'm sure the time was longer because it's Enjoy and the matches are slightly longer for a good reason, but I couldn't tell it was that long. You know what I mean? So I liked it.
The beginning part dragged, but once it broke down and they started just going like hitting everything, it started flowing really well. And it felt like you said, like you weren't waiting for the next thing because it was so like, it was timed so well that like there was no gap there really. And like everything felt like it was frantic. Like they were trying to get the win. They were trying to do it quick, trying to hurt like before somebody else comes back in. Like there's even a spot I thought they messed up because Katie jumped in the ring and tried to run over to break up the pin. And she did break it up, but I thought that he had hit 3, but like well before she even got a chance to get over to it because she was like scrambling, trying to get to it. So I was really impressed with like how frantic it felt, definitely all the way through. So like, but yeah, I was like, oh man, like that's crazy. They did touch on too, like maybe a little foreshadowing that TME had never won. The only tag titles they had never won in Pittsburgh was the Enjoy tag titles. So it kind of made a lot of sense for them to pick up the win. And I know they've defended it a couple times since this summer at like some Taco Mania shows. So good on them.
I think they did a good job at like, even though they like foreshadowed that, it also made you wonder, is it going to be production because of everything they were saying about the production? Like, it's Katie's debut, and what would it mean that like Derek gets it right back and with a new partner and like the partner's debut? Like, so they hinted at that too. So like the commentators did a great job of like not inadvertently leading you to the answer.
Right, they teased with each team.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you know if they go back and do any voiceover work afterwards, or is it just what's happening there at the time?
I don't
pretty
think
sure it's
do.
like the tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're there for it, and nothing sounds like it's. I mean, unless they mix it really well, nothing sounds like it was done post.
No, you're right.
So.
Yeah,
I don't think they do.
Okay, I just wanted to.
The only thing that they do that I think happens is, as far as I'm aware, I think they record the promos prior to the matches and the actual show. Right. So they're they're feeding the talent what has going to happen, but like either during or before. So like Willow talking later on about like what Billy said, that wouldn't have happened yet because they would have recorded it before. So that they do a really good job too of making it blend that you think it's happening during the show and it's not.
That was episode 1. We move on to episode 2, opening with Willow Nightingale against Billy Dixon. I love Willow. I love Willow so much. Willow is one of those people I've never gotten a chance to work with that I really want to work with. She's freaking awesome. I love her.
Yeah, Willow's awesome. Like, there's just something so good about Willow, just goodness in general. Like, Willow's great.
Willow's so awesome. She follows this podcast. How about that?
Yeah.
She probably listens too. So.
Oh.
Hi, Willow.
Willow, if you're listening, share this with your friends in the locker rooms and tell them all. No, don't do that.
I don't want wrestlers listening to this. I don't even let Danhausen listen to this. So what's that tell you?
Oh, hey, Danhausen, if you ever listen to this.
Danhausen, who will be at Enjoy in October.
Yeah, he's doing Toy Hio before and Enjoy's doing another show. So I will not be at the next Enjoy show either because I'm not doing back-to-back again. I can't do it.
I will not be at the next Enjoy show because I have a wedding to go to that night.
It's going to be my goal in the calendar year, in the school year. I mean, in this school year, September to June, I will be at one. I will try to get to one Enjoy show. I got to.
Well, we'll have to plan it. We'll make it happen. Hopefully we'll get you to one because it'd be a good time. I think you'd really enjoy it. I think you would. The vibes there, I think, are so different than what you're used to. I think it'd be really interesting to see your reaction to it.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to getting to one of those.
But anyway, Willow versus Billy Dixon. Thoughts? Anybody want to go talk about it?
I'm going to say that was probably my least favorite match of the 3 episodes. And I'm not even saying that I can knock. It was actually much better than I was expecting.
I love Willow. She does her thing in there. As far as Billy, good on you, Billy. You're doing your thing. But Willow is one of my favorite wrestlers, and has been for a very long time. Like as far as indie women's wrestler, who's now as far as TV goes, I feel like she deserves a lot of TV time. It's just you just look at her and you're like, there's just a smile brought to your face when you watch somebody like that. So I like Willow a lot. And yeah, the match was what it was. It got the story over, which it needed to. So that's really what, it served its purpose.
Mm-hmm. Best thoughts?
I don't have a whole lot on this one.
No?
It did its purpose. I mean, I thought it was a great match in terms of, Willow's return. Billy was Billy being heel.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to really note on it. Like I just wrote like that Willow countered a power bomb from her, like the double underhook into a jackknife pin to get the win. I really didn't pick anything that like really stood out to me that was like super, talk aboutable.
It wasn't like highlight of the night or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think they brought Willow back because Willow is, like an Enjoy original in terms of speaking, and
she was close by because she was at Toy Hio.
Right. And then like on top of it, like they had to, like, I think of anything, them instead of just throwing a match together and be like, look at this cool match with Willow and whoever, at least they pulled in Billy, who she's like, I remember Billy being blank, 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 and now he's this. And at least like immediately they at least had something to give a story to that match with
to help build him too, like as like one of the big heels, the big bads of the show, which works. It works because then you have, the lovable Willow against and then you could kind of because how the outcome's going to happen. So let's give him a nice little fun win because he'll be standing tall at the end of the night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, situation. And so I think it was just like a smart move rather than just like we have this cool name, let's just slap him with whoever. Like they were able to use it to their advantage.
So we got Lee Moriarty and the Darius Carter promo, and then got right into the match. So
if I can just say to Darius Carter, that colored trunks were not flattering. They looked very strange out there. The trunk color was a little off-putting. You know me, I love gear. It's got to make sense. So I love Lee. He was doing great. But the trunks of Darius Carter, Darius, you got to wear darker colors. It was too weirdly yellow, and it just didn't do it for me. But Darius Carter's a great bad guy. I love that he calls himself the All-Father. The two of them, I think, Jayhawk, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, they have wrestled before. The two of them, right?
I'll have to check, actually. I'm not sure if that was the first ever meeting or not. Give me a second.
Darius Carter's been around for so long.
Really solid technical match. Like some of the stuff that they were pulling out, like, Lee was on the bottom, then all of a sudden he was like, he had spun himself around and had like a hammer lock on Darius. I'm like, how the fuck did he even do that? Like, this reminds me a lot of like when I would watch Zack Sabre Jr. in PWG, like how this match like played out. It was really, really good, solid technical stuff. Really enjoyed it. Both these guys are just really good at technical wrestling. If you like that
Lee
kind of style,
a technician.
If you like that kind of wrestling, watch this match. It's really, really good.
That match was great. To answer your question, Jay Gold, it was their first ever one-on-one meeting. At least that's on record.
Oh wow, okay.
The only other time cage match had them in the same match was Faye Jack and Great Sweatpants Battle Royal back in 2000 WrestleMania weekend 2021.
Oh boy.
The hype for the Gray Sweatpants Battle Royal was one of the greatest hypes. That was
so ridiculous.
She was trying it before COVID though, right? And then it turned into it, or was it done after COVID?
I think it was
the one I'm talking about was done after COVID or WrestleMania weekend 2021.
Right, I remember that, but the hype for it, I could swear she was talking about that for so long. But
it might have been planned for 2020. I don't remember.
The build for that was the greatest build. The match itself, I don't think I ever saw, but the build was one of the funniest Twitter interactions I think I ever saw.
Yeah, like wrestlers were like taking photos of themselves in gray sweatpants, like chubbed up. It was ridiculous. It was so ridiculous.
It was a ridiculous time on Twitter for wrestling as far as that goes, trying to get people onto that match.
Tess, any thoughts? Not about gray sweatpants.
I don't have any because I didn't see that side of Twitter. So thank God. No, thank you.
No, Tess, we're talking about the match.
Doesn't
Any
matter.
thoughts on the match? No? Okay.
Any thoughts on what about on Darius Carter's tights? Anything? The color is just killing me.
I mean, I didn't really notice it. To be fair, I did watch it on my really tiny TV upstairs, so color wasn't really where my eye was catching. No. But I mean, it was. I like the match. Darius is also another one that he's a great heel, and I hate him. So
everybody hates him. So good at that.
Yeah. So any chance to see that man squirm a little bit under someone else's thumb is nice. Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious to see where they're going to go with Darius and everything to keep him. I don't want to say keep him relevant. That sounds harsh because that's not what I mean.
No, it makes sense though. Yeah, and
keep I know it's fine with what's going on. Yeah, keep him in the.
Keep him in the mix, and because when he had the tensions in previous seasons and shows, there was something there, but I mean, kind of the his opponents and the storylines he had going on have fallen off. So where are we gonna loop him back in?
Right, where's he gonna fit into the puzzle? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a couple options there. I think.
Because he's well hated, so he's the top heel.
you want a real hated faction. Put him with David Lawless and put him out there as just the snootiest. I know.
Oh, that's not where I went with that.
Oh, tell me, what do you got?
I was thinking the worst possible thing you could do is slap him with Sonny and Billy.
See, that's what I was thinking they might do.
That would just.
Actually, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. Yeah. Interesting.
I like your out of the box thinking though, Jay Gold, because I wouldn't think to put him with David. I mean, what do we do with David Lawless now? I mean, he's kind of finished this thing up with Mr. Grimm. Does Lawless build a stable now? What does this guy do? What's going to happen?
Yeah, he needs something to keep himself on top.
He has his Dangerous Knights crew. Well, he did in 880. I mean, maybe we see them show up here. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens next.
I don't know. Yeah. You could also do something where Darius pisses off the wrong person and Lawless is hey bud, I'm a great lawyer, I can help you here, and Lawless finagle his way in to try and you could do something like that.
Yep.
I'm excited to see what they come up with. I think they always seem to pleasantly surprise me with what they do, with how they come up with some of their stuff. So
this was their WrestleMania. This is their reset. Yeah, so in the past where we've all had we have a feeling that they can continue to go blank with the story and go this direction. We don't have that right now. This was their WrestleMania. And so now it's the reset. So now it's going to be completely new when we get the next show.
All right. What do we got next, Jayhawk?
So we start episode 3. We get some promo from the Runway and from Dirty Breeze. And that leads to the match with the Runaway against Dirty Breeze.
Now, can we talk about the damn fashion show we got to start this off with?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Runway. I love it. I love you guys.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. The Runway are one of my favorite Pittsburgh, that area tag teams. Mm-hmm. This is a match I want to see. When I see the Runway doing things that don't, sometimes they're just really good bad guys, but when they do something like this, this is exactly where this match works for their biggest show, for Enjoy's biggest show. Breezango does. They're just a perfect match. They really are. And you just the way the Runway handles themselves. This is the match I like them in. I think we gave them a little trouble for one of their 880 matches, but this Tyler Klein, I love you, dude. This was exactly where I see you in when I want to see a Runway match. It worked perfectly. I like this match so much.
I was just one that when I saw them at Big Gay Brunch in separate matches, I was like, this needs to be a thing. And then Enjoy announced it. And I was like, somebody noticed the potential.
Yeah. You're
sorry,
100%
sorry,
right.
Jayhawk.
No, you're fine. Now everything about it was fantastic. To the fashion show, to Calvin Couture firing the model but telling him to wait for them in the limo.
Right.
Yeah. To the brawl before the brawl before the match itself, like the entire thing was just perfectly done. And that's one of those matches where couldn't they announce going to make perfect sense, but it's not one that would be on your radar until you actually hear it announced either.
Right.
I thought what's his name? Not Fandango. Tyler Breeze was working with WWE again, but
he's like off and on. It's really weird.
It's like an adjacent. I don't know.
But he's still doing indies. Yeah.
It's one of those things where he's technically working for the company and almost like an ambassador, like he does the video game stuff and things like that, but he's not under he's not under a wrestling contract. He can still do other things. But
like at Fanatics Fest, he did the show, like there were shows with wrestlers and everything, and it was he hosted, and it was him, Big E, Liv, CM Punk, and he does that like in there. That's WWE sponsored. So like, I wonder what his deal is. Yeah,
but weren't they both working under TNA for a while?
They were. Yes, they were.
So I wonder if it's something with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Breeze is. I just love that. I think it just. I'm happy for the Runway to be able to do that.
I personally was surprised that we didn't have a flip happen in terms of like we had because every time I've seen Breezango, they're heels, and I'm like, well, you have the Runway were going to be heels. I was like, but maybe that's because they're in the hometown. Maybe they'll flip.
Right.
Because if you flip them for even just a match, I think Enjoy would again go with it and then go back really easily when they get in like the ring with like TMA. Like TME is going to be the pick. So like I really expected that to happen and it didn't. And I was impressed and happy with that. Like Runway was able to still be the heels in that. I also am one that would love to see a rematch, but let the Runway do their was it the Fashionista street fight or?
They did that at 880, didn't they?
It's their special branded street fight. I would love to see that between those two teams because they could match the energy of Runway for that.
Right, for sure. I think I didn't have a ton of other notes on this. I just thought like the fashion show at the start was really great. Breezango dancing with them was really great. And then, like, obviously, I'm a fan of tactical glitter. I always think it's a must in their matches. And I thought it was a really clever way for them to win with the kick to the bottom to the rope when he was getting in and the roll up. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah,
it was sneaky, but it wasn't like a super clean pin. Like, and you could always run that back too down the road as like, he cheated with a low blow.
Yep.
And credit to Dirty Breed for coming in and putting the local team over. You get a lot of names that come in and will not put anybody over. So credit to them for even if it is a cheap pin, being willing to do that.
Yep.
And I think the Runway they're literally on a tear to the Enjoy tag titles. Like it's been building for a while. I think they're like I said, they weren't going to be the team to beat the production, but they were going to beat the team to beat the production. Well, maybe they're beat the team to beat the team to beat the team of the production. I think I think we're gonna get a Runway tag title reign, and it's gonna be, for lack of a better word, immaculate.
Yeah, I agree.
And go from there. We have what's essentially a tournament semifinal. It's the qualifying match for the main event. MV Young against Mikey Montgomery. Great video package before that highlighting Mikey Montgomery's journey to try to get this first win, how this match got up, how close both of them came to winning the Odyssey. And then the match itself, it's my favorite match of the show. I've been on record saying I thought MV Young and Edith Guerrero was the best match in company history. This came very close to topping it.
Yeah, I think this was the best match on the show. The cage match was close, but there were some moments in this that made me really just nothing could top this match. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed how this flowed into the following match. Thought this whole segment was really well done.
It was finally for me, it felt very cathartic to see Mikey get the win. And get, oh man, with those people behind him. Holy moly. Like, that's the way, that's how you build a face. My goodness. Like, Mikey, he worked so hard for so long. I remember when we first saw him there and he didn't win. And it was just, they kept saying, oh, he's looking for his first win. That dude, they just built it right. Like, it was just perfect. Perfect end to that. Perfect everything with that.
I think they've built it up in such a way that I remember I was there the night that Edith won the title, and I remember the vibes and the energy and the pop. Whenever Mikey is given that title, it's going to like be that like times 10.
Yeah,
and I thought Edith's was up here, and somehow Mikey is going to go right past that level.
Yeah, he's really, really beloved by the Pittsburgh crowd.
Rightfully so.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He's just amazing. Like, even when he was in the 4-way for our belt, the crowd was so behind him. And like, Sid Von England pulled some shit and really messed his leg up going into just after he got pinned. So then it was Mikey and Derek, and Mikey just really was extra worn out by what Sid did. So he didn't really get a fair shake against Derek. So, but I have some notes here from some stuff that I really enjoyed from the match. Mikey went for a springboard. MV made him fall and then chopped him when he was crouched on the top rope, but the chop literally sent him flying to the other side of the turnbuckle top rope, which was just insane. The chops at the beginning of this match were disgusting. MV's chops on Mikey are some of the grossest chops I've ever heard. These were like
loud
Walter style loud chops. Like, these sounded like gunshots happening.
Yeah.
They go
and none of them missed, by the way. There were no thuds. It was all loud.
No, it was all loud.
Pop, pop. Yeah.
MV was on the outside. He hits another devastating chop and throws Mikey back in. Mikey fires up real quick, bounces off the ropes. It's a suicide dive on MV, which, hell yeah. Then he went for another one. MV caught him and hit him with an apron power bomb, which looked fucking gross.
Yep.
They battled up to the stage. Mikey hit a moonsault off the stage on the MV. Like, this match just, you had like all these things Mikey could do. They really accentuated all the positives of what Mikey can do. They made MV look like a fucking monster, which he's really grown into, like that big burly just beast of a man type character. I really enjoyed what he's been doing with that character. This was just so good. Like, this was like wrestling heaven style stuff right here. This is really good stuff.
Yeah, it was good. Really,
Mikey,
really good.
As the underdog is 100% my favorite thing in wrestling, I think. He hit a sliced bread on the ring apron that looked gross. Like, there was so much stuff I couldn't even write down. Like, because I was so enthralled with the match. So like, I took those notes, but then it just kept going, and I'm like, this is just so good.
Yeah,
he wouldn't quit. Awesome. Like, MV was just like hitting him with everything he had. Multiple times he hit him with that jackhammer Pittsburgh plunge, and he couldn't get the damn pin. I think he hit him like 3 times with it. Couldn't get him. Couldn't pin him. Couldn't do it.
Jayhawk, what do you got at the end there?
Tess, thoughts? Anybody?
Oh, Tess,
anybody else want to go?
No, it was my top match of the night, and I thought it was nice that we had all of the lead up from all the previous shows and the Odyssey, but I thought something that Enjoy did that wasn't like, it's not on the YouTube. I think it might be on their Patreon, but Taco Mania, the one that happened before Immaculate, that's where this match was like push.
Started to boil,
yeah, between these two, because they were the final two in the Odyssey, and then they toughed it out at Taco Mania, and then they announced like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen at Immaculate. I was like, that's a smart way to do it. Like, it could have just been like thrown together in a way that it was from the last like YouTube show, but instead you pushed it with their home crowd on one that only Patreons are gonna get to see recorded, but in that big of a crowd too, because Taco Mania has huge crowds. So like that was a great way to build it. Also, they fought in the rain that appeared at Taco Mania, so like kudos to them with all that. But yeah, no, I thought this was the exact like pinnacle of the build up that they needed for Mikey and the whole story.
So MV Jan hit the Pittsburgh plunge on Mikey, go for a second one. Mikey counter get into a small package for the pin. We get the show of respect afterward, and then out come Billy Ditkin to attack both of them. Blank out Mikey, and that brings out Kenny Kiss. Oh, now Mikey already wrestled a 20-minute match, and he's been beat up. You think Kenny Kiss is going to have an easy time of it? And that's not what we got. We got a pretty good match out of this.
No, we get a very angry Ziggy at ringside once they throw Mikey's lifeless body back in. Start the fucking match. It's like, oh, Ziggy. She was very angry, but she told Billy to get out and start the match. So
I wondered what was going to happen, the more episodes that came out, and the match between MV and Mikey hadn't happened yet. And I'm like, oh no. It's like it's going to be back to back, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, definitely.
So one of the things Jayhawk showed me that made me really fall in love with wrestling again is an episode of ECW where every segment ran back to back to back for an entire hour-long episode, and everything flowed and made sense to do back to back to back. And anytime I see any of that, it makes me really happy, because I think wrestling can flow like that if done properly. So like this flowed properly from that match into that, and it made sense all the way around, because you want to have it as your main event, so it's the semi-main. Everything just worked perfectly storyline wise. Everything just flowed perfectly for those two segments to work together. And I absolutely love when stuff like that happens, and like, it's kismet. It happens and it works perfectly, and that's good solid TV right there.
June 10th, 1997, if you want to watch that episode on Peacock, by the way. Match at no fit fine. It's relatively short. It almost had to be after Mikey and MV 120. How long can you really let Mikey continue to go after that and still have it make sense? We get a ref bump. We get Billy Ditkin coming back out. We get Willow coming out to make the save and even up the odds. But with everything going on, Kenny kick with a low blow, and then the roundhouse kick and the pin. So Kenny kick retained. Mikey Montgomery looked like an even bigger star than he was when he came in, and he was already insanely over with that crowd.
Yep.
Perfectly done. Absolutely perfectly done.
Yep. Fantastic.
Oh, and surprise, the number one contender for the IW Guide title is Mikey Montgomery. So Derek Dillinger, your days are numbered as champion. Don't know when it's going to happen. Don't know where it's going to happen, but it's letting you know Mikey's your new number one contender. So when it happens, hope you're in the mood to fight, because Mikey's going to bring it.
Better get ready.
Hashtag Derek must defend.
Oh boy.
Derek's just lucky we can't enforce a 30-day rule with all things considered.
30-day rule.
So what were we doing overall on this? How many runway walks are we giving this?
I'm giving this 5 runway walks out of 5. This was fantastic. Like my least favorite match was Willow and Billy Ditkin, and I liked that match. Like, I can't go below 5 on the show. So
you're gonna give it 4 runaway walks and a hair flip as well. That's what I'm going to give it. So it's going to be 4 runaway walks and a hair flip. So 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I agree. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. It was awesome. I had a really good time watching it.
I'm gonna go with 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Okay.
Yep. That's my favorite Enjoy. I didn't even get to go. I'm so mad I didn't get to go because this was my favorite Enjoy show so far, and I wasn't even able to be there.
Right on. Tess, you want to do some plugs? I know you got some plugs.
Yes, I am Mohawk Mosher on everything. Please follow me over at Women's Wrestling Watch, which is www of Neo everywhere. I think it'll be about. I think it should be a week from now. Posts will go up of the upcoming October LGBTQ History Month showcase. For everyone to nominate, a talent can nominate themselves, and anybody else can nominate any talent that they feel deserve a showcase slot. And then I believe the schedules go up again starting this Friday.
Oh yeah, Jayhawk, what do you got?
Follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at RefJayhawk. Instagram at Jayhawk1539. That's really all I got going right now. I haven't even done the Twitch in a while, just other stuff going on. But find me mostly on Twitter these days, but follow the Twitch. I do plan on getting back into that.
You can find me when I'm working at Time Capsule Toys. Toy Hio is October 12th. We got Wardlow, Danhausen, and Harley Cameron. Harley Cameron? Yeah, Harley Cameron. Are going to be there, plus one more guest that hasn't been announced, but I've heard some rumors, and I'm very excited if it's who I think it is. Not wrestling related, but somebody really cool anyway. What else? The new episode of Watch Along will be up next week.
This is a fun one.
It's with Dominic Guarini. We watched Necro Butcher against Samoa Joe. It was really informative going into that. Dom told us all the backstory behind a lot of it. So that was really cool. Got more of those coming in the future. Lining up some stuff with some other guests to come watch wrestling with us. And I think that's about all I got. What do you got, Jay Gold?
So you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at jgold12. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Make sure you drop a review in there. Check out our Twitter handle, IWGuide1, and the Patreon, patreon.com/IWGuide. Don't forget about the merch store over at brainbustertees.com. And check out our buddy Will over at Gorilla Press Apparel. Use the code IWGP24 at checkout when you buy 2 or more items for $20 off your entire order. Listen to our podcast friends at Odds with Wrestling. The Card is Going to Change. Super fantastic podcast. Marks with Mikes and Hayabusa Speed. It's fast. It's Hayabusa. It's Hayabusa Speed. Other friends. The official graphic designer of the Indie Wrestling Guide, OKCR Creations. Magnum CKs, now that's what I call wrestling. Time Capsule Toys, Toy Hio, Rubber City Toys. Big Starks brand. Women's Wrestling Watch of Northeast Ohio. Gorilla Press Apparel. And Smoke and Jay's Barbecue, the best barbecue in Ohio. That's all I got.
Next week, Gabby Forza will be in studio with us.
Let's go.
Cannot wait.
Long Island,
ready.
Let's go.
So excited. All right, everybody. Have a good week. Watch some indie wrestling. And we will talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Don't forget to review and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Find us online at Facebook and Instagram at the Indie Wrestling Guide. And on X or Twitter at IWGuide1.